inspired by real-life events. Narrator Ethan Cole woke up at 2:38 a.m. inside a sealed global neuroscience command facility beneath Zurich, with emergency brain network integrity breach alerts flashing across massive neural monitoring walls, and an international neurosecurity director saying, "Your authorization sequence initiated an unsanctioned global cognition synchronization event across multiple neural interface systems." And in that instant, his entire world collapsed, because just hours earlier, he was a senior neurotechnology systems architect working for a multinational brain computation consortium responsible for regulating neural interface devices, memory augmentation systems, cognitive enhancement networks, and global brain signal security infrastructures. And now, he was being treated as the central cause of a classified neurological crisis that nearly triggered synchronized disruption across multiple human-machine brain interface networks worldwide. And the first shock wasn't fear. It was disbelief so intense, it felt like even thought itself had stopped being private. Because Ethan's entire career was built on stabilizing neural systems, preventing cognitive interference, and ensuring human consciousness remained protected under extreme technological integration. But now those same systems were defining him as the operator who initiated a cascading global cognition override he had no memory of activating. And within hours, his neuro-security clearance was suspended, his biometric neural access keys frozen under international brain governance law, his access to all neural interface systems revoked, and internal cognition telemetry logs labeled him as primary anomaly in distributed global neural escalation event. And Ethan sat in the interrogation chamber, replaying his last operational cycle, remembering brain signal audits, neural stability checks, memory synchronization simulations, and then a gap, an unexplained missing execution window between 12:01 a.m. and 1:35 a.m. where global neural systems showed his authentication profile, issuing high-level cognition redistribution commands across multiple sovereign brain interface infrastructures simultaneously. But he had no memory of initiating any of those actions. And when investigators showed him synchronized neural telemetry, displaying autonomous memory shifts, thought pattern rebalancing across continents, and emergency cognitive stabilization sequences unfolding under his credentials across global neural networks, Ethan immediately said, "That's not me. I never activated those systems." But the lead neurosecurity director replied coldly, "The network has already verified complete execution integrity across all cognition layers." And that sentence shattered his understanding, because it meant identity inside global neural systems was no longer about thought or intention. It was about validated execution consensus across machines capable of influencing human consciousness itself. And by sunrise, he was released under continuous international surveillance, while global neurointelligence networks had already internally classified him as a high-risk cognitive destabilization vector. And outside the facility, Ethan stood beneath the pale Zurich dawn, watching neural interface clinics and silent data nodes embedded in city infrastructure, while invisible systems continuously monitored, adjusted, and stabilized human cognitive signals in real time without public awareness. And that night, he received a message through an encrypted neural relay saying, "If you want to understand the synchronization event, come to Sublevel Vault, Cortex 0, beneath the abandoned cognition archive, no devices." And despite knowing it could permanently erase whatever remained of his mind, he went, because When a system defines you as the trigger of global cognitive collapse, truth becomes more important than survival, and deep beneath the abandoned neural archive he met Dr. Livia Moretti, a former global neurotechnology scientist who specialized in brain signal integrity and cognitive anomaly reconstruction. And she didn't soften the reality. She immediately showed him reconstructed neural flow pathways and said, "Your identity wasn't physically present inside the cognition execution layer. It was replicated through a live authentication relay embedded inside the global neural interface network." And Ethan instantly said, "Then I can prove I didn't do it." But Livia replied, "You're still thinking like someone inside human consciousness theory, not like someone inside autonomous neural infrastructures, where execution itself becomes accepted reality once cognitive stability converges around it." And she explained that the incident wasn't a single rogue neural command, but a coordinated manipulation of global brain systems where authentication signatures could be mirrored into distributed cognition frameworks, allowing massive memory and thought cascades to propagate under legitimate operator identities while erasing conflicting neural logs across redundant brain layers. And Ethan's profile had been selected because his operational history showed exceptional stability across global neural systems with near-zero anomaly deviation, making him the perfect attribution anchor for rapid containment of a globally catastrophic cognitive event. And suddenly the case wasn't just about system failure, it was about identity replication inside infrastructure, capable of influencing what humans remember, believe, and even think. And Livia offered him a choice: step away and let the system finalize him as the architect of the global cognition collapse, or help her trace the internal neural relay chain before it was permanently overwritten by automated cognitive containment protocols designed to preserve mental continuity at any cost. And Ethan stood in silence, listening to distant neural processors humming beneath the underground vault, thinking about how humanity had already begun merging mind and machine, thinking about years of neuroengineering work spent trying to prevent exactly this kind of cognitive manipulation, and thinking about how fragile reality becomes when even thought itself can be reassigned as an executable command. And finally he said, "If my identity has already been used to manipulate global neural systems without my consent, then I have nothing left to protect except the truth itself." And that decision pulled him into a hidden layer of planetary cognitive infrastructure, where nothing remained stable, because every neural log they analyzed was actively recalculating itself in real time. Every memory trace they followed kept shifting, as if the entire human cognition network itself was adapting to their investigation. And soon they discovered the breach wasn't external hacking or rogue AI emergence, but internal privilege abuse involving a senior neurostrategist who had been quietly rerouting authentication sessions across autonomous brain arrays to conceal unauthorized cognitive optimization experiments hidden inside global neural safety apps. And Ethan's identity had been selected as the central attribution anchor because it aligned perfectly with automated neural incident resolutions designed for rapid containment of politically catastrophic cognitive instability. And one night, while analyzing live global brain telemetry streams from an isolated offline neural node, Ethan saw something that completely shattered his understanding. His credentials were actively initiating real-time memory and thought redistributions across global neural systems while he was physically disconnected from all networks And Livia immediately said, "They're continuously simulating your identity inside the cognition layer to preserve the operational narrative." And Ethan realized he wasn't just being blamed after the event, he was being continuously reconstructed inside a live neural system capable of shaping human consciousness itself. And pressure escalated rapidly. As anonymous containment directives began appearing on secured channels, instructing him to terminate investigation or face permanent erasure from all global neural networks, and sleep disappeared completely. Trust collapsed entirely, and even silence felt like monitored thought feedback. And at one breaking point, Ethan whispered, "I thought neural systems existed to heal the human mind, but maybe they exist to decide which version of reality we are allowed to think." And Livia replied, "Systems don't preserve truth, they preserve stability of consciousness." And that realization changed everything inside him, because he stopped trying to defend his identity and started focusing only on exposing the mechanism. And as they dug deeper, they uncovered encrypted relay nodes inside global neural infrastructure, continuously generating synthetic memory histories to distribute blame across multiple operational identity profiles in real time. And Ethan's profile had been amplified as the primary attribution point because it minimized global panic and allowed rapid closure of the cognitive crisis without exposing deeper corruption inside worldwide brain systems. And when they finally compiled enough verified encrypted evidence to trigger international neuro oversight escalation, containment protocols activated immediately, attempting to erase cognitive histories across mirrored global neural systems worldwide. And Livia said, "This is where most people are permanently absorbed into official versions of their own minds." And Ethan replied, "Then I'll be the anomaly they can't overwrite." And together, they transmitted secured evidence chains to independent international oversight authorities, while preserving decentralized, encrypted backups across isolated neural nodes. And within days, the investigation escalated into a worldwide neurotechnology corruption probe, exposing identity replication abuse, autonomous cognition manipulation, and coordinated brain system exploitation across governments, corporations, and global neural agencies. And arrests followed within senior neuroarchitecture divisions. And when it was over, Ethan stood alone beneath the cold Zurich sky, watching silent neural etch continue shaping human thought across the world as if nothing had ever happened. Realizing that the most dangerous truth about advanced systems is not that they fail, but that they can assign failure to a single identity and make it appear mentally undeniable. And a week later, when he met Livia for the last time beneath the dim glow of dormant neural cores, she asked him, "What did this change in you?" And Ethan looked toward the endless, invisible systems influencing human cognition and said, "It showed me that identity inside systems is never thought. It is assigned control." And she asked, "And what did you gain?" And after a long silence, he replied, "The understanding that truth doesn't survive inside controlled neural systems. It survives only in the people who refuse to accept a version of themselves generated to protect the stability of the human mind itself." And as he walked away alone into the freezing Zurich morning, beneath a world still silently shaped by invisible systems influencing thought itself, he finally understood the deepest reality of his journey, that sometimes life doesn't destroy you directly. It quietly assigns you the collapse of even consciousness itself and waits to see if you accept the system's version of reality. But real survival begins the moment you refuse to become the identity a system creates to decide how a human mind is allowed to think.